All right, finally time to start working on this thing. I've already drilled and tapped a couple of practice holes on some stock aluminum, so I got some cutting fluid already on the tabletop here, on the lift top, and we're gonna turn the machine on and start cutting. Okay, we're through on that. I lost my rapid tap there, fell on the ground, but should be okay. This thing is cutting like a dream. With the cutting fluid, and this drill press is doing great. Got it set to about 2380 RPM. And we're gonna change out to the number 3 high-speed steel drill bit here. And it's gonna be the correct size for us to actually tap this hole. So let's be a little generous with our cutting fluid here. That wasn't that generous, but just make sure to apply some. Okay, I'm liking that position. Let's give it a shot. Okay, there's our first hole. Went pretty good. Gotta do that 4 more times now. Okay, I got all 4 holes drilled in. Everything went pretty okay. So I'm gonna set the drill press up and lower the table, take this little bit out, and then we'll tap it, and then we'll countersink it, and then we'll put in the screws and be done. Just want to go slow here. Definitely do not want to break the tap off in the workpiece. And all I've got is time, so no rush. Clear the chips, go back in. Looks pretty good. Let's give it a test fit. Oh yeah, like butter. Like butter. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. All right, let's keep going. There she is. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 drilled and tapped holes, countersinked on both sides to remove the burrs. Let's go test it out. Okay, so I got it all put back together. Went pretty well, but we're not done yet. So on most of the corners, I have adjusted the set screws to be a really nice, smooth transition from the plate to the table. And that's really nice. I can take my square from both sides and it just glides right across. It's awesome. And I can come over here to all these corners and there's no wobble, except for here. So with this one, by the time that I adjust this set screw to actually be making contact with the cutout below here, I've got about 30 thousandths extra lift here. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, this is actually kind of nice because when I originally cut this out, I kind of did it in a weird way where the bit I was using wasn't the right bit for the job because it was too deep, and I had to try to rig up some kind of fence for the bit to ride along. But if I just buy the correct bit, which I should have done before, I can cut this out another 30 thou. I'll probably go 50 thou around just for some baby fat, some breathing room. And then I'm also gonna buy, let's see if I can get this to focus. My set screws are in there quite a bit. So I'm probably gonna buy, they're almost all bottomed out. So I'm gonna buy some longer set screws. These ones I was using was 1/4 inch, 28 by 1/4 inch. So I'll probably buy some 1/2 inchers just to have some more breathing room. Possibly get a new bit and cut this out more, and then we'll be done. But this all turned out great. The actual set screws is done, the plate is done. Just a matter of getting this cut out properly to actually work. Okay, so we're back. I have the new router bit. I have the new router bit. I have the dust collection attachment on, which I did not use last time, and that was a mistake. This thing can really kick up some dust. I have the wider base plate on. This is the regular one, just because I'm going around a very narrow surface, so I want to make sure that I have ample space to level myself out. And you can see the size of this cutter compared to my old one, or the one that I was using initially. So this should allow me to get a much finer cut, but also be able to go around the inside edge without having to, mock up some ridiculous makeshift fence to worry about. So we're gonna, I have to make some measurements, and then I'm gonna dial this in, and then we should be pretty much good to go to start cutting. Okay, we're gonna see how this goes. I'm not taking up very much material at all, so it's very possible that I'm gonna end up making a second cut around here, but maybe not, because I'm already dealing with 30 thousandths. I'm trying to remedy a 30 thousandths gap, which is, I think, a little smaller than I'm giving it credit for. I mean, yeah, it's that much. So I'm just gonna send it here after I find my safety goggles. The dust collection is great. It really is. But I kind of have to give up visibility of what I'm doing to be able to use it, and that is just not worth it. Okay, so now it is time for the final test. And I have two sizes of set screws here. These are the longer ones. These are the shorter ones. They're both longer than what I was using originally, so we're gonna go with these. What ends up happening is when the router is in place, this end of the plate gets dragged down, and this corner is the one that becomes problematic. So I'm just gonna do a loose, test fit here and see what we can learn. All right, only one way to really test this, and it's to put the router back in and see how the weight distribution changes. Okay, the router's in. This set screw is not in yet, but you can see how the distribution has already changed because there's now weight on this corner over here. So yeah, you can see this is now wobbly. So the idea is that I get this set screw to be totally supporting itself so that we can account for the wobble. And now they are all sufficiently raised okay, I'm just starting to get some wobble right there. Okay, it's actually pretty good. I might be able to squeeze away with this. Oh, there's just the tiniest bit of play in that right there. Overall, it works really good though. I'm happy with that, honestly. I could go around and take off another 10 thou and be picky about it, but that's damn good. There's no wobble in this. You could, if you really want to try and make that happen, you can, but I mean, it's pretty much perfect. Yeah, so that worked, and we're done. So that's awesome. Okay, I lied, we're not done. When I adjusted this guy, it brought this up, and I'm no longer happy with it, and I think it's fixable. So every corner is pretty much good and is totally good, except this guy, which is now, instead of 30 thousandths proud, it is there's no way that's 30 thou. Okay, I'm confused. All right, I'm not happy. I set the press up in the table, or the router lift in the table, and I was able to get it pretty close, but all of the media that I can find with these lifts has more than 4 set screws. Okay, they all have like 12 or 10, and I just can't help but feel that there's more that I can do to improve this, and I actually don't even know if adding more set screws is going to do anything, but only one way to find out. So I'm taking it apart, and we're going to get it back on the drill press. We're going to tap 8 more holes, and we're going to see what that does. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about, well, so first things first, this is done. Sorry, I'm recording using the front camera, so it's hard for me to see. I put a total of 12 set screws in this router lift base. And my goal was to be able to take my machinist square and come around to any edge of this surface, and it should glide across with no resistance or bumping on any side of this. And I did not accomplish that goal. I did not. Honestly, I'm still a little tripped up on what the reasoning is. I don't think it's with the actual piece of aluminum that the router lift base is made out of. I think it is something to do with the actual like melamine here, or whatever material this is, the wood. I think the wood is somehow warped in a subtle way such that I cannot get a perfectly flat piece of metal to align via my specification. Now, what I'm learning is that my goal was somewhat arbitrary. Number one, this is the router lift fence, okay? And I spent a lot of time messing with this corner in particular. I have no idea if you can see this right now or not, but I spent a lot of time messing with this corner right here, and kind of for nothing, because like when you accidentally stopping the video. This corner is not really that important at all, because almost always when I use this device, the fence will be on and the piece of wood won't be coming anywhere near this corner. So the current state of affairs is that I can slide my machinist square nearly perfectly over this surface and most of this surface, but it does get caught up right here towards the back of this corner. Now, is that important? Well, you know, first of all, most pieces of wood that I would run through this would probably be pieces that are thinner or pieces that don't reach all the way out to this point where it might get tripped up. But in the event that I am doing that, take this piece of wood, for example. If I was doing that, this glides across no problem. I mean, there really is no issue. And even the small effect that this does have, if any, would not be noticeable in, for example, a chamfer around the side of the piece of the wood. So I've accepted that my initial goal was not achievable with the material that I have in place right now. That being said, I don't think that adding the additional 8 set screws was a waste, because one of the other problems and other goals that I had for this project was that I wanted to eliminate the wobble that this thing had. You used to be able to come in, at these corners, you could press down and it would tilt like this. And that problem was still present with having just the corner set screws. But ever since I added the 8 around the edges, it is rock solid. I mean, you really cannot mess with this thing. So overall, I learned a lot from this project. Not just in technical skill, but in expectations and managing them. So I'm pretty happy. I'm excited to finally clean up the shop and do something new. I had to acquire a lot of new tools to make this happen, but once everything kind of came into place, it was relatively easy. I have one more thing I want to talk about, and it's this tap wrench. This tap wrench worked pretty well for me, but some of the Amazon reviews were talking about how it doesn't hold the tap very well for very long, and I agree. The reason I bought this is because it's a fraction of the price that I'd pay for a Starrett tap handle. But I now see why they're worth the money, because there were times where I would be midway through a tap and this handle comes loose and my tap is either now not straight or difficult to readjust. And the last thing that I want is some mishap where I, fondle this in the wrong way and my tap breaks in my hole. So, I made it work. Just gotta be gentle with it, but I do want a new tap wrench that is a little more adequate. So I'm happy with the way this turned out. I am content with the way it turned out. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, and I'm glad to have this part of my shop functional again.